Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about something really powerful, especially if you're looking for a bit more calm in your day-to-day life. It's called the observer self. So if you've ever felt like your own thoughts are just running the show, this is for you. We're going to explore how to find that quiet space that actually already exists inside you.
So first, let me just ask you this. Does your mind ever feel, I don't know, like a super noisy, crowded marketplace? Thoughts pulling you in all these different directions, each one shouting over the other? If you're nodding along right now, you are definitely in the right place.
Living in that mental marketplace, it really takes a toll. That scattered state of mind leads to things like constant anxiety, that exhausting feeling of being always on. Then there's the stress from trying to multitask all the time. And eventually, you just hit emotional burnout. This isn't just about being busy, it's about being swept away by the chaos in our own head.
Okay, so let's talk about the solution. It really starts with a simple but kind of mind-blowing revelation. You are not your thoughts. Yep, there's a part of you that can just watch them come and go, and we're going to call that your observer self. This slide really breaks it down. See, on one side, you've got the entangled mind. This is when you're completely fused with your thoughts. You think, I am anxious. It feels like a fact, right? But with the observer self, you're just watching the thoughts pass by. The inner dialogue shifts to, I notice a feeling of anxiety. See the difference? That simple word change moves you from a reactive state of constantly doing something about it to a calm, aware state of just being. The spiritual teacher Girish Jha says it so well here. Knowing your real self isn't about finding some new thing to understand. It's just your own awareness turning inward and recognizing itself, separate from all that mental noise. So you're probably thinking, okay, this sounds great, but how do I actually do it? Well, let's get into the practical tools. Let's see how you can build this into a real daily practice. So the path is actually laid out in 6 pretty clear steps. It all starts with something called Mangalacharan, which is basically a daily invocation, a moment to set your intention for the day. From there, you move into actively listening and learning the principles behind this stuff. Then you reflect on it, you contemplate it. The next steps are where the rubber meets the road. You practice and you do a daily self-analysis. You start to see your own patterns. And finally, you apply that wisdom to make real changes, and then you check in on how it's going. It's this complete cycle of learning and growing. Now, a really key concept in this whole toolkit is a word called samadhanam. And don't worry about the word itself. Just think of it as a mental framework, a game plan for finding that inner calm. It's a structured way to pull your attention back from that scattered, reactive state to a place of focus and peace. And to make it super easy to remember, it's an acronym, samadhanam. So let's run through it. S is for see the scattered mind for what it is. A is for acknowledge its hidden cost, the stuff we talked about earlier. M is for asking yourself, is my mind a chaotic marketplace or a peaceful temple right now? A is for remembering that your attention is finite energy. D stands for don't glorify multitasking. H is for breaking the habit of hurry and worry. A is for consciously allowing your mind to just be off, to rest, and is to notice the inner noise without judging it. The next A is to align with that inner stillness that's always there. And finally, M is to maintain that awareness. But does this stuff actually work for real people? You bet. Let's look at what this looks like in the real world, because the transformations are, well, they're pretty profound. Take Stephen here. He realized he didn't have to take on everyone else's problems. By creating that little bit of space, that observer space, he could literally catch himself before he reacted. It's a perfect example of what it looks like to set healthy emotional boundaries in real time. I absolutely love this analogy from David. He talks about the space between his true self, the knower, and his thoughts, the known, and how it got bigger and bigger until it felt like a moat around a castle. I mean, what a perfect way to visualize that feeling of safety and detachment from all the mental chaos. And this one from Terry, wow, this might be the most powerful one. For someone who was just used to constant anxiety, the result of this practice wasn't just less anxiety, it was its complete absence. That really shows you the potential for a massive shift in how you experience your life. So, where do you go from here? Well, the main thing to remember is that this isn't some quick fix or a one-and-done kind of deal. It's really a lifelong practice, a peaceful journey that you just keep walking. And let's be super clear about the goal here. You're not trying to achieve a perfectly empty mind. That's not going to happen. Thoughts will always pop up. The real win is changing your relationship with them so they just don't have the power to control your emotions anymore. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. What would change in your life? At work, in your relationships, just in your own sense of well-being? What would change if you could learn to just watch your mind with curiosity instead of constantly being lost in all its noise? Thanks for tuning in.